right, guys, the baddest middleweight in the world is in the house. He's beaten Robert Whittaker. He's beaten Israel Adesanya. Now we're waiting to see, will he be coming back to Australia to fight Khamzat or Sean Strickland once again? He is back in the house once again. Dricus Du Plessis, welcome to Submission Radio, man. It's great to have you on the program.
Oh, awesome, man. Thank you for having me. Good to be back.
So, dude, first of all, you had someone just crawl behind you.
That didn't work at all.
That was the best. That was the best. Let me ask you, man. First of all, I'm hearing rumors. Your coach told me, obviously people are talking about it. You might be headed back to Australia. How likely is it that you'll be fighting on this 312 card, Brand?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what they want to do. I've already agreed. I said I'm more than happy to do that. Obviously, I think before they made anything solid happen, they had to wait for the Khamzat and Whittaker fight. So right now we're in a little bit of a, we should have an answer soon. But, I'm more than happy to fight in Australia in Feb. But also, if it has to be in March in Vegas, I'm more than happy to do that as well. In terms of opponent, obviously, Dana said that Strickland was the next guy. But after that performance of Khamzat, that's a fight that gets me really excited. And I think the whole world, the fight world excited. I think it's a fight where, it's something I haven't seen before, something I haven't done before. And it will be great. It will be awesome for me to go out there and beat a guy like Khamzat. But I mean, if the UFC decides that we're doing the Strickland fight, I'm more than happy with that as well.
Do you think that Sean Strickland made a mistake by not fighting again after the Paulo Costa fight to sort of lock in this fight with you? Obviously, like maybe he could have fought Rob. Maybe he could have fought Rob and been guaranteed this title shot.
Yeah, I think if you took another fight, beat a guy like Robert Whittaker, then you definitely make that claim. But then again, you look at Khamzat, who never fights, but he beat a guy like Rob. But Rob also beat Paulo Costa, and he beat the other Russian guy he fought. So, yeah, it's interesting right now. I think the middleweight division is very exciting at the moment. It's a very exciting place to be right now.
Okay, so give me a reaction to this Robert Whittaker Khamzat fight, man, because, Coach Morn was on. He predicted Rob to win, but obviously things didn't quite pan out how a lot of people thought it would. Khamzat was able to win in that decisive fashion. Were you surprised at all by the performance that you saw from him?
No, actually, I wasn't. I always, I fought Rob, and you can see the way Khamzat fight. He's a strong guy, very wrestling based, obviously, and when I saw that fight, when we spoke about it, I did a few shows on where I spoke about the Khamzat Robert Whittaker fight, where I said, listen, I'm such a big fan of Rob, so I always want him to win because, the way he's come up taking fights, and after the fight he lost to me, he just came back with a force. And I was hoping for him, for his sake, that he gets that opportunity again. But then again, you get Khamzat, who comes in there. I said it from the beginning. I said, Rob needs to survive for 2 rounds. He's going to need to survive for 2 rounds. And, Khamzat probably knew that as well in a 5-round fight. And he went out there and did what he had to do. So, yeah, I mean, the way it ended was crazy, obviously, because, when you saw the tap so quick, but, at that stage, I didn't know. Nobody knew that Rob had the condition with his teeth. But, yeah, I mean, I think if you're going to play a defensive game like that against an attacking guy like Khamzat, you're going to always be in trouble. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was going to end that way, but I always knew the possibility was right there.
It's kind of a crazy way to do it, right? Though, like getting your teeth crushed. If that didn't happen, if Khamzat didn't crush those teeth, how do you actually think do you still think Rob would have beat him, or do you think Khamzat could have still got it done? Because it's a crazy way to win a fight, right? But he did it. He's the one who crushed Rob's teeth, so you can't take anything away from him.
That is not true. I'm the one that crushed Rob's teeth.
That's right. Yeah, you're the culprit. You're to blame for this.
I didn't even know it. Rob said it. I didn't know it, and I thought, geez, that sucks. But Rob is the one who made that known that it was actually in our fight where his teeth were back for the first time. And he said
he basically got Khamzat's job done for him. You should be getting a part.
Yeah,
Are you getting a part of the fight pay here, or what's going on? Are they going to send you a part of the purse?
No. I think, to be quite honest with you, obviously Rob had those problems and he was fighting. He was active after that fight. So I don't think, with the back-to-back camps, with the way that Rob, he fought of that 2 times, and he was in camp the whole time. So I think that was the problem. He didn't get enough time to really recover. And I think a lot of times guys feel the pressure to fight even when they're not in shape or not healthy to fight. And right now people don't really care if Rob wasn't 100% healthy going into this fight with his teeth. They just saw the loss. So it's also something about managing yourself in a way of taking fights when you're ready. But yeah, I think Khamzat was obviously dominating that first round, and I think Rob would have needed to make some big changes in his approach of not defending and starting to attack a guy like Khamzat. I think a mistake that Rob made, if I had to be very critical, was he was so defensive that he never gave Khamzat anything real to think about in terms of his because he was defending the whole time. But in saying that, Rob's defense was looking good. He was looking calm in the situation. He didn't look like he got super overpowered as I would thought. He was doing good, and honestly, if the teeth didn't break, the choke was definitely not in. I think if you look at the angle of the choke, he could have turned, but it was in. It's a fight game. It's a ruthless one and an unforgiving one with that. So yeah, it's hard to say, but I think if Rob changed his plan a little bit in the second round, going more for the attack, even in the wrestling exchanges, it could have been a different fight.
What do you think a first round looks like between you and Khamzat if that is the next fight?
Like absolute chaos. If you look at my fights, it's going to be absolute chaos. I just think, I don't see him coming in with a different game plan, and me neither. I'm going out there to attack. I'm going there to kill him. I'm not going out there to defend Khamzat's takedowns. I'm not going out there to defend. I'm going there to attack. So I think it's going to look a little bit different. I mean, if you look at the Gilbert Burns fight and the success he had with Khamzat, that's a very, very good. Even with the Usman fight, Usman was, people don't just go and defend against him. He was forced. Usman was forced to defend, and he did a great job. And then he started with his offensive wrestling and showing Khamzat that he's not the only one that can wrestle in there. I think that was a big key in that fight, which made it a very close fight. And then Gilbert Burns being an absolute animal, also not being scared of Khamzat wrestling and going for it, attacking. This game doesn't work by defense. You don't win fights by defending. You win fights by attacking.
Do you think people are underestimating your grappling going into this Khamzat fight, if that is the fight because everyone's talking about Khamzat's wrestling, right? But your grappling, you're a very dangerous offensive grappler when it comes to MMA. Do you think people are sort of not really thinking about what your grappling would match up like with Khamzat? Because you're not there to wrestle people. You're usually there to advance and finish people whenever you get a hold of them. Yeah,
absolutely. I think I just don't think people have seen a lot of it. So it changes the game. I think if, Khamzat mentioned it, he said, Robert Whittaker took me down. He did. He got a good time takedown. I got up very easily. When Rob took me down, I got up with no problems, took him down, and I dominated him on the floor in a way where I was landing. I cut him. I was landing massive elbows. The threat of the choke was there the whole time, and the round ended. And I'm sure if that round didn't end at that stage, it would have been the end of the fight right there. But yeah, I mean, I guess people haven't seen too much of my grappling and wrestling that much, but at the end of the day, I'm a complete MMA fighter, and that's why I'm the best in the world. I can strike with anyone, I can grapple with anyone, I can wrestle with anyone, but when it comes to putting it all together, I'm the best in the world.
Quick break to thank MANSCAPED and NORDVPN and SAILY for bringing you these programs here today. I want to talk about MANSCAPED first. Boom! The Chairman Pro Electric Foil Shaver is here. It is the game-changing tool that brings the luxury of a professional shave right into your home. Whether you're after that daily silky smooth finish or prefer to maintain a rugged 5 o'clock shadow, the Chairman Pro Electric Foil Shaver is your go-to for precision and style every time. Head over to manscaped.com and join over 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by using the code word submission for 20% off and free shipping now. And what makes the Chairman Pro so special? Well, what about the Skin Safe blade heads? Skin Safe 4-blade foil for that close, smooth shave when you're looking to go completely clean. And clean shave isn't your style, that's okay. Just switch to the Skin Safe stubble trimmer to keep your stubble looking sharp and polished. Both heads are designed with a skin-safe technology to help reduce razor burn and irritation so your skin feels smooth and comfortable after every single shave. Go to Manscaped right now and use the code word submission. You can use it across the whole website. The Chairman Pro, you can get the Lawnmower 5.0, whatever, the Beard Hedger, all sorts of great products, 20% off, and you're helping the program, and you get free shipping. That's at Manscaped right now. I also want to welcome SAILY to Submission Radio. What is SAILY? This thing is an absolute game changer. It is a new eSIM service app brought to you by Nord Security, where you can choose several affordable eSIM plans over 160 countries and 8 regions. With SAILY eSIM, you'll always have a connection when needed. If you've ever been lost abroad or badly needed an internet connection with no Wi-Fi spot in sight, you'll understand what a difference a local SIM card can make. An eSIM provides the internet connection wherever you travel and saves you money on roaming fees. All you got to do is have a look at this. You just download the app. Here I am here. I want to travel to Thailand, so I choose that, and boom, it's that simple. All you guys got to do is download the app, go through the prompts, and you guys are sorted. Global and regional plans. You save time. You don't have to wait in line at airports to get a local SIM card. You stay connected. No more wandering around looking for public Wi-Fi. All SAILY eSIM plans are compatible for iOS and Android devices. So what are you waiting for? Download the SAILY app now. Use the code submission, or click the link in the description, saily.com/submission, to get an exclusive 15% off and travel in style with SAILY this festive season. And by the way, guys, while you're traveling in style, why not jump on NordVPN as well? There's exclusive deals right now for Black Friday for all Submission Radio listeners, where you get massive savings plus 4 months extra. That's 4 months extra, and you get that 30-day money-back guarantee. So why not try it today and see the NordVPN difference? And don't forget, you can use one NordVPN account across 10 devices with one single VPN subscription. So don't forget, you can get cheaper prices on things like pay-per-views, airlines, product, all sorts of things, online subscriptions. NordVPN has you covered. Jump on today and go to NordVPN/submission, or click the link in the description below. Get that big saving 4-month extra for free thanks to the Black Friday exclusive deal, and jump on now before it's gone. That's NordVPN.com. And now back to the program. Not only in the fighting, man, but in the leading up to the fight, you know, the way that you speak, you know, your trash talk, or the way that you build up fights, you're really able to sort of get to people as you go into fight week. Khamzat, we've seen him get emotional before outside of, you know, fight week. Well, do you think he would get emotional with you, or do you think you'd get a reaction out of him going into the fight like you have with, you know, Sean and Israel and a lot of the other guys that you fight?
Well, listen, to that extent, I never go out there to be a trash talker and to, you know, make the guys cry. It just happens to happen that way.
It's a natural skill that you have, brother. Is this something that you're just born with? What's going on? You're just going around making everyone...
Yeah, I'm the youngest of 3 brothers, so I think it's the way we grew up. I think that's the banter. And, you know, if you look, the friends, you know, I think if that stuff makes people cry, don't come to one of our get-togethers as friends. You'll definitely walk out crying, because that's just the way it is. But, you know, if you look at my fights with a guy like Darren Till, if you look at my fights with a guy like Rob, and all the guys before that, you know, I've always been respectful up until you try to bully me or be disrespectful. If you try to be disrespectful, I will give it to you 10 times worse. I don't care. You know, at the end of the day, we're there for a fight. We can go out there, we can be respectful, and we can fight like we are going to anyway. Or you can try and be a badass on the mic and see how that ends up for you. That's the gist of it, I think. So I don't go out there with the mindset of, you know, disrespecting my opponents or just trash talk mindset. Not at all. I'm going out there, and the way you treat me is the way I'll treat you.
Who do you think is the bigger challenge, the rematch with Sean Strickland or this Khamzat fight for you?
The Khamzat fight is definitely the bigger challenge. You know, it's something I haven't seen before. You know, it's the unknown. I mean, I guess in any fight, that's the biggest factor, is how strong is this guy? How hard does this guy hit? You know, how deep into the deep waters is this guy willing to go? That's all the questions you only get in one way, and that is in the fight. With a guy like Sean Strickland, I've seen it all. I know what he can do. I felt his strength. I felt his punches. I felt everything that he has to offer. He's not going to suddenly become a striker that, you know, is going to throw spinning heel kicks and throw crazy flying knees. It's not going to happen. He's not going to change that. What I think he might add is try to wrestle me, because he was able to get up from my takedowns, because my plan was never to grapple Sean Strickland, not at all. My plan was to take him down, secure around, and yes, he was really good at getting up, but like we saw in the Israel fight, I worked on those mistakes that I made in keeping him down, and it worked for me in the Adesanya fight, because that's what I'm all about. I'm a champion. I'm young. I'm getting better every single fight, and that's why if I fight Sean Strickland again, it's not going to be the same fight. He's going to end up jabbing and cheaping and going backwards again, and maybe try and wrestle a bit more. But it's going to be like I said, I've been in there with him. The only thing that he had in the first 2 rounds of that fight was the unknown, and now I know all of it. So the Khamzat fight, it's a new challenge. It's a very big challenge. Make no mistake, I think Khamzat is an incredible athlete. He's an incredible wrestler. He can strike. He's tough. He works hard. And up until this point, the man hasn't been able to get to the octagon too many times, but too often, for that matter. But I think he's an incredible athlete, and I would love to fight him. I would love to share the octagon with him. And at the end of the day, I'm there to fight the best guys in the world and show that I am the champion for a reason.
Dude, yeah, that would be an incredible fight. Hey, just quickly as well, I know there's a bunch of guys trying to make it into, contendership one day. What did you think of Shara Bullet? Are you impressed with what you've seen from him so far? He called out Israel Adesanya after his win, but he did that double knockout thing with his double spinny stuff.
Yeah,
so
double knockout was incredible. It was really cool to see. And listen, I have respect for the man. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's great. What I've seen up until this point, I don't see him beating Izzy. Well, not the Izzy that fought me. You don't know how this loss affected Izzy. But up until this point, I haven't seen the kind of striking that's really going to put a stamp on beating a guy like Israel Adesanya. I was in there with him. He's incredibly good. He kicks very hard. With Shara, I think he's an incredible striker. He's very fast. His kicks are lightning. I don't see power. I don't see a lot of power, but he is super fast. And up at this stage, I can't say anything bad about the guy. He's walked the walk, but he's also finding his feet in the UFC. He's 3 fights in. So let's see. Calling out a guy like Izzy, it's a big step up. A big step up in competition. So yeah, respect for wanting that fight, but that's going to be a fight that's really going to either put him up against one of the best strikers in the division, or putting him up against a guy that can strike but also is a great wrestler or grappler. And that's going to be the big test. That's what happened to me. I was knocking guys out. They gave me a wrestler in Derek Brunson, and I passed that test. And then they gave me an all-around guy, and that's the guys that are at the top, a guy like Robert Whittaker. So yeah, I think he's ready for the next step in his career, but there's still a lot of water needs to flow before finding a guy like Adesanya, in my mind.
Yeah, man, and I'm seeing reports here. I don't know how 100% true it is, but apparently people are saying Nassourdine Imavov is the next fight for Israel. Do you like that fight for Israel next?
I like the fight for Israel. I like that fight for Israel. Yeah, I think it's a fight that he can pull off. Imavov is a great fighter. He's a great fighter. Yeah, I think he's good. It's going to be very interesting. He's on a run right now, so yeah. I mean, give him that opportunity. He looked great with against Brendan Allen. He looked really good. He had all the answers for the takedowns and grappling exchanges. But fighting Israel Adesanya, like I said, it's a different animal. Fighting Israel Adesanya, when he gets into the octagon, it's his place. He's been there many times. So you're going to need to be able to bring something else than just good striking, because you're going up against one of the best strikers in the world. So that's going to be an interesting fight. I thought the Caio Borralho fight, if I'm saying that right, I thought they're going to do that.
Caio Borralho, I thought that would have been a great fight.
That would have been amazing. That would have been a great test for him. And I think he's put his name up. I think he deserves that fight. I think he really does, because he's a big guy. He can strike, and his grappling and wrestling is really impressive. So I think that would be a great fight. I would have preferred that fight, but Izzy and Imavov, great fight as well.
Do you think you'll end up fighting Israel again? Born said, maybe the Africa card, that could be a perfect place for you guys to do a rematch one day. But again, plans are to maybe move up divisions if you beat Khamzat, right? Do you think you and Israel fight one more time before it's all said and done?
If everything happens the way it should, if he goes out there and he gets a couple more wins, because if you look at his streak right now, I think he's on a 3-fight losing streak. No, he's on a 2-fight losing, but Yeah, because he beat Alex Pereira, lost against Strickland, lost against me. So he's going to be a couple of fights away because he got his chances, man. He got his chances to stay champion, to get the belt back, all of that. But I think right now he needs 2 or 3 big wins. And I just don't know if that's the route for Israel Adesanya. I don't, if he gets back there, massive respect. But at his age and what he's accomplished in the sport, I just don't think that's the hunger and that motivation to get all the way back to the titles is there. But I would love to do that again if it's a fight that makes sense. If you go beat a guy like Imavov, then fighting Bahal and beating him, I mean that's 2 young up and coming and lions that's new in the top 5 or top 10. Beating them, that definitely gets you right back up there. But I know in his mind right now, I believe Israel Adesanya, Sean Strickland, that is one fight that I know Izzy wants back. I think, he believes he didn't perform the way he could in that fight. He definitely didn't fight the same fight against Strickland that he did against me. The Adesanya that fought against me looked incredible. But I think that's a fight he would like to get back. But yeah, I don't really see him going all the way again. But with the amount of champion mentality, his championship mentality, what he's been through, and what he's been able to accomplish and do in the sport, being one of the greats, I wouldn't be surprised if he does get back.
Dude, I was there for both of those fights, and yeah, you're completely right. The Adesanya that fought Strickland is a completely different fighter to the Adesanya that you beat. I think you beat the best version of Israel that I've ever seen, physically and ability-wise. So that's a
Certainly felt that way.
What's that? Sorry,
I said it certainly felt the way. Like I was fighting against Adesanya. It felt that way when I was in there.
Dude, so it's extra impressive. Let me ask you about Alex Pereira, man. So let's say Khamzat is next. You'd mentioned it in a previous interview that could be enough to maybe get this potential move up and potentially get this double title shot against Pereira. Do you feel like beating Khamzat gets you into the conversation to potentially fight Pereira? Because I guess the thing with Pereira is, right, like we don't know how long he's going to be around for. So we want to try and see you fight him before I guess he retires, like, because it's such a great fight.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Pereira, just in saying that, in my mind, one of the greatest combat sports athletes to ever walk this earth. I mean, the amount of respect I have for that man as a martial artist is incredible. Now, what he's been able to do in such a short period of time in this sport, and it's really hard. We've seen guys transition from other sports, but he just fought the best guys. He came in and made it look easy. Yeah. He's an incredible fighter, and damn, he's a good fighter. He's so good. And at his age, to just keep improving and being as active, it's something to look up to. But it's a fight I want. I always say, for me, this is all about legacy. When it's all said and done, I want to be known as one of the greatest fighters to ever walk this earth. And for me to do that, I only want to fight the best guys in the world. So yeah, beating Khamzat definitely gets me in that conversation. I'm one of the first guys who said, I believe in defending your belt at least 3 times before considering going up to a new weight division. But yeah, like I said, if I fight Khamzat next, beat Khamzat, it's my second defense. But you can also say, I beat Strickland again, then beat Khamzat, it's my third defense. Then it becomes viable. So like I said, I'm never in a rush, but a good point that you're making is I would love that fight before the man decides to retire, because if he does decide to retire today, it would be totally warranted. I mean, what he's achieved in the sport's incredible.
Dude, when I was talking to your coach, he mentioned that you guys would want to sort of beat Alex at what he's best at, which is the striking, right? Like, give me a little taste. What do you think a fight with you and Alex even looks like? And also, you at 205, right? You're not cutting the weight.
Yeah, that would make a big difference. So yeah, I walk around heavy enough. I think Alex Pereira, the only potential problems he could give me would be at 205 would be the same problems he would be able to give me at 185. And strength will never ever be a problem to me. I promise you that. It's the range. The same with Izzy. That was the hardest part of that fight. I missed so many shots by millimeters, and just because he was able to extend out his hand and keep me at range, because he has the long arms, long legs. He kicks incredibly hard. So closing the gap on a tall guy like that is hard. But I believe Izzy is more fluent with his style, where Alex Pereira is more of a stand his ground. He definitely hits harder, and I think he's a bit stronger. But I think where Izzy is a bit better, if you fight a guy like Alex Pereira and you fight him MMA style, if you're going to try and kickbox with a guy like Alex Pereira, you are going to get it handed to you. You have to fight him in MMA style, and that's the same with with Israel Adesanya. Yeah, he landed big shots against me, but I put him down twice. I landed a lot of shots, and he's a world-class kickboxing champion, hundreds of kickboxing pro fights. But MMA and kickboxing is not the same thing. So my secret to if I'm talking about just the stand-up exchanges, I'm not fighting a kickboxing fight. I'm fighting an MMA fight. In a kickboxing fight, you need to be able to land combos. You need to land massive punches the whole time. Get a guy rocked. You get an 8 count. You have all those variables. Where in MMA, I don't care who you are. If I catch you clean with those small gloves, you're going to go down, and I am going to catch you eventually. Now, I said it with Izzy. He said, I'm too slow. I wouldn't be able to catch him. Well, yeah, like I made a post yesterday saying, maybe it's not pretty, but damn, it's effective. Because I will catch you eventually. And then it's a whole different story because I'm not engaging in a kickboxing fight. I'm punching and I'm kicking, but it's not a kickboxing fight. It's an MMA fight. And when I put those together, it's a different fight. So I honestly believe that with a guy like Alex Pereira, he has power. I have a lot of power too. The man he has Chris striking. His striking is incredible. That's why he has the kickboxing resume he has. But we saw with Khalil Roundtree fight. So we saw a lot of things there. Khalil had a lot of success in those first 2 rounds. He really did.
Yeah, man. Well, I got to ask, like you mentioned because every time we speak to you or I speak to you, you talk about legacy. You wanted to beat Rob, you wanted to beat Israel on the way to the title to get the championship. Now you want to fight Alex, Khamzat. Is there anybody else on that wish list that you have legacy-wise that you want to sort of get ticked off, or is Alex kind of like the last big name on there for now?
No. I've always said it. It's so weird, Israel Adesanya, people always go, who is the guy that you really want to fight? And I go, the best guy in the world. The guy that's going to get me, it was always the guy that's going to get me to the belt. That's why the Whittaker fight, I loved it because I knew beating Whittaker puts my name on that title list, being a contender. If it wasn't Whittaker, it could have been anybody. That would be the guy. I'm not here to fight names that, where I'm at in my career now. I'm not fighting for the big paydays. I'm not fighting for the big money fights. I want to fight the best guys in the world because at the end of the day, that's why I started the sport, and that's why I do the sport, is to be known as the greatest. I don't care if I'm the richest fighter in the world. It's not my priorities. If that is your priority, great. My priority is to be one of the greats, being one of the greats to ever do this. That's why Khamzat right now is the guy. He is the guy that is, the hype. He hasn't been beaten. So obviously, he's not just all talk. The man can back it up in spectacular fashion. And I believe he's the next best guy, and that's why I want that fight. And then, of course, a guy who in such a short period of time became a Hall of Famer in Alex Pereira, beating a guy like that, what a massive stamp that puts on my legacy. So, there's no other names. Once we get to that position and there's a guy that's the next baddest guy in the world, that would be the name I want.
Dude, that's incredible. Hey, before we wrap up, I got to ask you, you got another bright prospect in your division in Bo Nickal fighting next weekend in New York. What do you make of him? Because, he's obviously speaking about the fact that, with a couple more wins, he might end up potentially fighting you down the track. Are you impressed with what you're seeing from him? And how far do you think he can go in the division? Do you think he can make it up to a title shot against you, potentially next year with a couple more wins?
Yeah, I think he's done great. There was a couple of performances where, the one where he knocked out the guy that on 1 day notice, I don't even count that as a win. But then we saw him against, what's the other guy he fought? The black guy that was really good. He did really well. He caught him with the arm trying at the end, but that guy did, what was his name?
Was it Val Woodburn? No. Was it Cody Brundage?
Brimage. No, yes, I think Cody Brimage. I think he gave him, if that's the right fight, that was amazing. That guy did really well against him.
Yeah.
In that, you know, Bo Nickal right now, but I mean, he's still young in his career as an MMA fighter. So, you know, to be out there doing what he does, I can only respect that. It's just not going to always be this easy. Once you start fighting some real names, it gets tough. You know, the run I was on, I was just knocking guys out. First, second round was easy. The guys went strong. I was like, I got this. Then you get into that top 10, and you're like, okay, this is different. Well, the top 15. I mean, my top 15 fight was Brad Tavares. Holy shit. Was that a wake-up call? In terms of, I just remember pulling Brad Tavares on top of me, trying to throw a suplex, screwed it up tremendously. And, you know, for me, I just get up. I just get up from stuff. It's no problem. And when he was on top of me, I had to work. And every time I tried something, I was literally in that situation with him on top of me going, oh, welcome to the top 15 in the world. It's not this easy. You know what I mean? But that fight was what, almost 3 years ago. Yeah, I think 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago. Now, a lot of change since then. You know, I was still finding my feet. It was my third fight in the UFC. But I remember that fight specifically realizing, hey, you're at the top now. There's nothing that's just going to happen for you. You're not just going to get up when a guy takes you down. You're going to have to work for it. You have to try and be perfect, because one mistake can cost you a fight. And, you know, that's the one thing. Call it advice, call it my opinion, but I think Bo Nickal's doing great. You know, I think his wrestling credentials are incredible, but this is not wrestling. And right now he's doing what he needs to do. He's doing what he needs to do, and you know, big ups to him. I just can't tell you that it gets harder once you can move up in the ranks. Well, for me at least it did.
It's some great advice though, man. And before we wrap, I got to find out from you, as a champion yourself, what are you expecting from this Jon Jones Stipe Miocic fight? Because obviously, man, it's interesting. Like Stipe, right? One of the greatest heavyweights to do it. Like, we don't know what kind of Stipe is coming in there. And also, Jon, we haven't really seen Jon at heavyweight. But at the same time, Jon is one of the best to ever do it, right? Like, I bet you he's probably right up there for you on the pound for pound, listing you as someone that's been in the sport as well. So how do you see this one going in your head?
Jon Jones right now is the GOAT in the world, in my opinion. I think, yeah, I don't think Stipe is going to be... I love Stipe, make no mistake. I just think where they are in their lives right now, Jon Jones, you know, Stipe and Jones are taking this fight. Jon Jones really doesn't need to prove anything. He's going to fight one of the best, greatest middleweights, you know, in stats, the best middleweight to ever do it. But we've seen Jon Jones. I mean, we saw him against... When he fought Cyril Gane, I thought, wow, Cyril Gane is massive and he's in shape. And
yeah,
and Jon Jones just went in there and made it. I mean, the man knows how to win fights, and he knows how to, you know, do it in incredible fashion. I'm a massive fan. I'm a massive Stipe fan, but I'm going to go Jon Jones on this one for sure.
It's just
there's one fight I don't need to see. There's one fight I don't need to see, and I'll say this. It's very hard to say this publicly, but I don't need to see Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones.
Why? Why?
Because I love both of them. You know, Tom Aspinall is such an awesome guy. I met Jon Jones quickly, briefly. Amazing, massive guy. You know, for me, that I look up to as a martial artist, how great he is at fighting.
Yeah.
And then Tom Aspinall, who is, I mean, Tom Aspinall looks unbeatable. He moves like a middleweight. Now, I look up to Tom Aspinall so much. So I just don't need to see that fight, because I don't want, you know, for me, it's a lose-lose situation. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose, and I'm going to be sad and happy for both of them. I don't need to see that fight. You know, let's just call it what it is. Let Jon Jones fight this fight. If he wants to retire, great, and that's cool. Tom Aspinall, the new gen, and Jon Jones, the old generation. I just don't need to see that fight.
You know what I love about this, man? You should be kind of like one of the people that's running the UFC, because the way you explain it, you know, it really makes a lot of sense. By the way, imagine if Jon Jones was still a light heavyweight. That would have been a great fight for you as well, another legacy fight, but he's at heavyweight now.
So. I can 100% say I'm really happy he moved up to heavyweight. I'm not saying I wouldn't fight him. I just say I'm really happy I don't have to.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, 2 minutes ago. The toughest guy is the guy. And it's like, nah, it's good he's gone. Guys,
yeah, well, it's good. You know, if he was there, it would be a different story, but I'm very happy that he's not.
It worked out well. Guys, make sure to follow Dricus on Instagram at Dricus Du Plessis. Of course, we'll wait on bated breath to see who the next person's going to be. Dude, I selfishly hope you fight in Sydney. I love covering your fights, and it's an honor to speak to you today. Thank you so much for taking the time with me, man.
I appreciate you. Thanks for the great interview. You guys are always awesome. I really appreciate it.